Welcome to Let Me Catch You Up, the podcast where I explain reality TV to my husband.
And I ask a lot of questions.
I'm Liz, a longtime Bravo watcher who's been following Summer House for years.
And I'm Pat, a casual observer who's been in the room, sometimes paying attention.
Each week, we're recapping the latest episode of Summer House, breaking down the drama, the relationships, and everything you might have missed. Whether you've watched every episode,
or you're just trying to keep up,
we're here to catch you up. Let's get into it.
Good morning, good night.
It's Thursday morning here and Wednesday night there. I'm coming to you from the future. I've done my best to keep up with everything going on social media wise, but since I'm traveling for work this week, I might have missed stuff. So let me know if you have things that I don't.
I'll try to fill you in if I can. At least you're able to watch the episode, though. That's key.
Yeah, so we're here to talk about episode 12, Boys of Summer, something.
I think Boys of Summer sounds right, actually.
I just know it was something to do with boys.
Boys of Summer, yeah.
Yeah, I tried to watch it on YouTube TV.
Yeah.
I had to resort to buying the episode through
How
Prime.
much did it cost?
$3.
$3.
It was worth it. Yeah, so before we dive into the recap, though, a quick update on different things that have developed. So we last chatted on Sunday. It's now
Wednesday/Thursday.
Wednesday/Thursday. Actually, my laptop is still on East Coast US time, so it says it's Wednesday. So other things have come out since then besides just the episode. So I think maybe Monday, I don't know. West went on his podcast and talked a little bit about the scandal, which was annoying because he was, instead of like apologizing and taking accountability, he was, and I only saw clips, so there could have been more that wasn't picked up by Instagram, but it seemed like he was just like, I don't understand why Amanda's bearing the brunt of people's ire and anger, and she's getting like bullied, and they have the timeline wrong, everyone was single. It's like, bro, we don't care, like, especially after watching this week's episode.
I mean, I think there's different like levels or tiers of how much we care or how much, it's like, regardless, it's messed up. We just don't know how messed up it is yet. So, I mean, to be defensive and try to like clarify stuff, I mean, maybe you're saving a little bit of face by saying, hey, based on the timeline, people are trying to insinuate that we were hooking up last summer and stuff, and we weren't. So it's like, okay, that's
I mean, he said, I think his exact words were, it got serious in February.
Yeah. Which left a huge window open. It started in February and it got serious in February. So which one is it? Right. Yeah.
I saw somebody had questions for Andy for the reunion, and one of them was like, regardless of when anything physical started, when did you both start to have feelings for each other, and was it at some point last summer?
Yeah.
After this week's episode, and we'll get into it, but it was very heartbreaking to see how vulnerable Ciara was. I don't understand the lying from them.
After the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think it's one thing for them to have developed feelings for each other, and we've talked about it before, but probably saying this a million times. But when questioned about it in February by their cast and their friends, they lied multiple times, denying that there was anything going on.
Yep.
Then they got caught, and then they came out. It's like we see in this episode Ciara talking about how she's so scared to be friends again with West because she doesn't want to be embarrassed again because of how horrible it was 2 years ago. And then they go and do this bullshit. Like,
no,
that was just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
To think about.
Yeah, my main takeaway of the whole episode was definitely just feeling bad for Ciara. It's like when you see this back, it's like, and it's going to happen. It just, it's kind of gut wrenching to know what like she's going through and what she's about to go through. It's tough to watch.
Yeah, totally. It's just kind of like unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, this whole thing has been unbelievable, but let's see. Jesse was on Watch What Happens Live, and he was, clarifying a couple of things. I couldn't watch the whole episode. I watched some clips. A couple of things, like they asked him, when did you know? And he said, I had suspicions, but things were, denied to me by both of them. So he said, I knew when the joint statement was posted, but looking back, there was multiple strange occurrences. So he said, like, at one point they had brunch, like all the guys in New York.
Right.
And then Jesse and Kyle were still hanging out. And then they ran into Amanda and West having brunch at a bar. He also said that they were all in Miami at the same time. Yeah. And West and Amanda got dinner together without him. And at first he was just a little like offended. Mm-hmm. But then looking back, he's like, oh, but who goes to 2 brunches back to back?
That's diabolical. Yeah.
Agreed. I was like, dude, at least do like a brunch and then a early dinner or something. Right. But
dinner, yeah.
Yeah. What was the time distance between these brunches?
Right. Andy kept on being like, you guys got to have your timelines right for the reunion and everything.
Yeah.
They got to have the timeline right for the brunches. Want to know how much time was in between them.
There was a good clip from the after show where an audience member at Watch What Happens Live asked Jesse, like, what are you thinking or feeling now watching the scene back where West and Jesse were on the like pool float, and West wouldn't be like direct with Jesse that he was upset about him mentioning that he was interested in Ciara, but he, talked to all the guys about it. And Jesse said something like, yeah, it's a little frustrating kind of being given a hard time about potentially pursuing something with Ciara, a woman that you dated 2 years ago, when now you're hooking up with our friend's wife.
Yeah. That's an understatement, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I did watch the whole episode of Watch What Happens Live, and number one, I'll say I don't think, at least my gut is that Jesse's not a good liar, so I kind of am taking him at his word. And you kind of touched on this before, like it's not like he's like super close best friends with West. He's just like, he's kind of boys with him on the show and stuff like that. But I kind of had this conspiracy theory going on in my head that like maybe he knew earlier, he knew what was going on, but he was pretty convincing that he was like, I had my suspicions, and he said he even talked to Ciara about his suspicions. Like they both kind of suspected something was going on, but neither one of them actually knew. So they were like, when did you start having your suspicions? And he said February. So like whatever, but I think he really did kind of find out with the rest of us. So I believe him.
Yeah. I think him saying like, I didn't find out until the joint statement, but I think he was like almost like, probably like 80% sure at a certain point in March, maybe that something was going on, but they hadn't, verified it and continued to lie to him. The fact that he said he was offended in late February when they went out to dinner without him because he thought they were just like leaving him out.
Right.
Then I kind of believe like in late February, he wasn't thinking like, oh, they're definitely boning. So I'm, that makes sense why they're doing their own date night. So yeah, I think at some point in March before the joint statement was published, he probably was like, okay, it's probably happening, but it's not like he had verification until then.
Yeah.
At least that's what I believed him.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Let's see what else. And Jesse has been in touch with Paige. He said she gives good advice. So.
Yeah. I was curious what that advice was, but yeah.
Maybe some good advice going into the reunion.
Yeah. Oh, maybe. Yeah. Oh, he was like, I don't have the quote verbatim, but he basically said he's a little concerned because he has been kind of texting with West and talking to him, and he gets the impression that West is going to come in kind of like combative and defensive at the reunion because he's like, people have this all wrong. They like, I need to step up and defend Amanda. Like,
it was two single people.
Yeah, we were two single people. So like, yeah, just come in and apologize. Don't come in all hot and defensive.
Right. Just own it.
Yeah.
I mean, take accountability.
Right. They can't come across good at the reunion. There's no way that you can kind of like properly defend yourselves.
The damage is done.
But they can make it worse.
Right. Yeah. The damage is done, but they can definitely like either move in the right direction for future or take other steps back. Yeah. And they did ask how Kyle was doing, and Jesse said he's okay, but starting to get a little more angry and hurt as he like learns more and thinks, I think as it like sets in more too. And he mentioned like specifically, you know, him having to see them on TV kiss at a Yankees game was not ideal. So again, like they can make things worse.
They seem to be doing. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I didn't have anything else. Did you have anything else before we jump into the episode?
No. Let's get into it.
Okay. All right. So my notes are hopefully good enough. A little bit off my game, I think, being overseas for work. But okay. So the episode picks up with Amanda, Mia, and Ciara chatting. And this is the night after they've had the Vegas pool party, and Ciara saw West making out with a girl right next to her, and you know, she's rightfully upset. And this was so hard to watch. Amanda's like specifically coming from Amanda, she's like, I see you. You deserve so much more respect than what you get to Ciara. And like Ciara gets emotional, and her, you know, Amanda and Mia are like comforting her. So, I mean, from this very start, I felt like this episode was just really painful to watch mostly.
Yeah. Again, if we didn't know anything about like what's going on, like this would have seemed like Amanda being a good friend. And yeah, it's given the context, it's like it makes it very difficult.
Mm-hmm. I don't think there's that much to say, but I am curious to see how Amanda addresses this in hindsight, like at the reunion, her, you know, defending and appearing to act like a good friend to Ciara, and then like how did she then lie to Ciara and everyone else about her and West? And it's like she clearly knew how much this would hurt Ciara potentially. But also we see like her biggest fear is being humiliated again by this man, and then she doesn't do anything to like address it, apologize, get out in front, like help Ciara.
There's so many like moments along the way where take West out of the equation because he's an idiot. Like, I don't know. Don't get me started with West. But
I have lots to say to him later in this episode.
It's a whole separate topic to get onto. But just concentrating on Amanda for a sec. Like, there's so many moments along the way where she should have done things differently. Like she should have, when she saw things kind of progressing, like she definitely should have stopped it. She should have been like, I don't know where this is heading, but Ciara is one of my best friends. We can't do this. But then she should have gone to Ciara and been like, I don't want you to find out from anybody else. Like, every step along the way is just a terrible mistake.
Correct. Yeah. It's just like so hard to believe.
Yeah.
That they would have handled it the way that they have. But yeah, so we find out they're all getting ready to go out, and you know, we had heard last episode that Kyle would be DJing Common Ground. So everybody goes out. Well, before they go out, they're all getting ready, and there's a couple funny quotes, like Ben is getting annoyed with Sabrina for like not getting ready. He's like, God forbid we ever have a couple children and try to get them ready for school.
Yeah. It's relatable. Yeah.
Yeah. He's already thinking about children with her, so seems they're serious. And then Mia to Ciara, she's like, oh, I couldn't wear that dress. My whole ass would be hanging out.
Yeah. And then Bailey was talking like, do I look like a stripper? And then I think it was West, but
yeah, it was.
But he was like, yeah, but like a hot stripper.
A hot stripper.
Like, but still a stripper.
Yeah. Yeah, so they get back from the bars at 1:23. Ben and Sabrina's bed is too creaky for them to have sex. We see Jesse and Kyle like devouring food in the kitchen, and Bailey's saying they should be on the Discovery Channel. And then Kyle like kisses Amanda's cardboard cutout before going to bed.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he gets in bed, he's like, "Thank you for coming tonight. I love you." And she's like, "Of course. I love you too."
Yeah.
That was really cringy.
It was really cringy. I just think she's so checked out in the marriage that like she just doesn't want to have anything to do with him. And so like even just like a kiss or like an I love you or something like that is so painful for her to get out at this point, because I think she's just completely out the door. So
yeah, definitely. So then it's the next morning, where it's Sunday, August 17th, 9:44 a.m. We see Mia waking up, and she talks more about, starting to dream about her parents more, which I think last episode she had a dream maybe before the party, maybe Saturday morning. And she gets emotional. She's talking about how, since her mom passed away, she's been kind of just keeping her head down, doing what she has to do to survive. But she knows that her parents and her mom would not want her to just be going through the motion. And she says something like, "I know you guys didn't sign up just to watch me cry on TV, but I'm kind of like, no, we'll sign up to watch you do anything on TV. Yeah. We're here. Do whatever you need to do, Mia."
Yeah.
And Carl, we find out he's ordering like a breakfast spread for everyone. Mm-hmm. And he also, there's a fly in the kitchen at some point, and he's like, to Bailey, he's like, "Yeah, I'm actually a really good fly killer."
She's like, "That's a good quality in a man."
This whole thing I wasn't in a sorority in college, but I felt like he was like, what do they call it? Do they have like a house mom or something?
Yeah, I think that's right.
He's like the house mom.
Yeah.
That breakfast spread looked really good though.
It did look really good. He went all out.
There's like
much better than a casserole.
Yeah. Yeah, there was like bagels, cream cheese, smoked salmon, pancakes, McDonald's, like breakfast sandwiches, hash browns. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it.
That's right. You haven't had breakfast yet.
Yeah, and I had a lame sandwich for dinner last night because I was flying, so I'm hungry. Let's see. Anything else from that morning of note? Oh, okay. So KJ and Dara, they talk a little bit about how like things are going well. Their like drama-free relationship is appreciated. Ciara, Mia, Dara, and KJ kind of like huddle before breakfast, but then immediately they were like, "Oh, how was the rest of the night after you got back?" And the girl Ciara and Mia are like, "We just went to bed." And Dara's like, "Wes was so drunk he couldn't talk about anything besides Ciara." And KJ is like, "I'm out." Like, seemed like he didn't want to gossip about that at this point. But we see Ciara saying, she wants to let go and pick up where they left off, but she's just like scared too, and she doesn't want to feel like she's been bamboozled again.
Right.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Back to what we just talked about. And Mia's like, "Wes is in the doghouse," and Dara's like, "Yeah, I'm actually like really mad at him. And I feel like we need to like take those screenshots of them saying these things and like just have that like replaying every 5 seconds."
Yeah, that scene was interesting. I felt bad for Ciara because like I feel like she keeps on trying to like, she's on the fence. Like she's like, I either need to like completely distance myself from this person or I need to be best friends with them. And there's no in between. She just doesn't know which way to go. And when Dara says like, "Oh, you're all he could talk about last night," and stuff like that, it kind of pulls her back in. I'm like, no, like don't fall for it, Anyway.
Yeah. And okay, so then we see breakfast, and Kyle's like, "I appreciate the whole house coming out to my set. It wasn't my best work." And Sabrina is being kind and a good cheerleader. She's like, "You played great." And Amanda's like, "Yeah, Kyle messed up a couple, like on his transitions a few times, and he would just look at me and be like, 'Oopsie.'" And they like, she laughs, but I was like, okay, Amanda continuing to be a negative Nancy towards Kyle.
Right. Everybody kind of like giggled and laughed, and Kyle didn't get upset, didn't start a big fight or anything like that. But it's just all these constant like little passive aggressive digs,
Yeah. And we see West in his confessional. Of course, I feel bad. My main object is not to hurt, Ciara's feelings, and all the slow progress we've made has made me more comfortable in this house. And it sucks that I might have ruined it by making out with someone I've never met before. Mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever. And then Dara's like, thanks everyone for making my first full weekend easy and breezy and fun. And I was just like, what? I totally forgot. So this is like our third episode where we've seen parts of this weekend.
Yeah.
So her first weekend lasted a while in the timeline of the show.
Yeah, I saw some sort of meme about like how Dara like stuffed Levi in a closet and like took over her role or something like that. Like where is Levi?
I don't know. Where is Levi, and why is Bailey only on this show like every other weekend?
I don't know.
Because she's not there next weekend.
Yeah. Just before moving on, the West. So this is like the 17th time that he's said, for the last 2 years, my only objective has been to not upset Ciara, and it's really starting to piss me off. I mean, like,
yeah, same.
And like he also said, I was doing so well, and then I screwed it up, by making out with this random person. But like, he's not recognizing like why that was messed up and stuff. He's not taking any accountability. He's just like, oh, I was so careful.
Multiple times throughout this episode, in his like shitty ass apologies, he's like talking about how he feels and how hard things are for him.
Right. I think my problem is like, it's, again, take the whole scandal out of it and everything. It's him saying that his job is to like not upset her. He's not actively trying to build a friendship. He's just trying to like kind of stay at bay and not offend her. He's not actually putting any like effort into the friendship.
I feel like he makes it's like her decision whether or not they're friends, which is fine. But then he doesn't take ownership or accountability of like he hasn't done everything he can because they haven't even had a conversation about everything. And I don't know. I feel like the way he approaches it is really frustrating. So he does, before everybody heads back to the city on Sunday, he does then kind of come into Ciara's room and apologize. And he's like, I'm personally bummed because I felt like on a friendship level, things were pretty okay. I hope that I didn't fuck up whatever was built for the rest of the summer. And Ciara's like, this is why I didn't want to be friends to begin with. Like, I want you to be able to live your life and be free. It's best for not friends. And then this is when West is like, well, it's harder for me. I've been closer to you than anyone here. And I jeopardized that. It hurts me and I'm sorry. I would take it back if I could. I'm not great at articulating myself. I've put a lot of effort into it. It sounds like none of it mattered. Like, ugh. You say you're okay with awkwardness. I'm not. It bugs me horribly. I'm like, you should have thought about that before you did what you did. Like, or even in the middle of it, when you realized what was going on, do something about it instead of being like, oops, I used to date the girl next to you. Oh, well. And he's like, I'm not good at pretending to not know each other. It takes a lot out of me. Like, I just want to like punch him.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about all of this in the last scene of the episode. But
yeah.
So they pack up and they go back to the city. Before they leave, Dara says, I want, for the record, everyone to know everything's packed, our room is clean, and KJ had nothing to do with it. And I think Jessie calls Bailey like a bale of hay as a nickname, and she's like, can we not with that nickname? And he's like, big old bale of hay.
Big old bale of hay.
Big old. And Ben's neck pillow is nowhere to be spotted, so
I was keeping an eye out for this time.
To break it out. He's too embarrassed to break it out with Sabrina around.
Yeah, maybe Sabrina said, this has got to go.
So then they're back in the city. Dara also has a very cute dog. We see a picture of the dog with KJ. For some reason, there's like, on Wednesday, we see Ben's face close up, like in a like self-taken video or something. That could have done without that B-roll. And then Thursday, we see Ciara kind of like sitting on the front stoop and Mia, and then we meet her brother Nick. They walk up and we learn they're going to go meet with the medium that Ciara knows. And, we learn a little bit more about Nick, Mia's brother. It seems like they're really close. Mia talks about how she wants him to like move into the same building. And I think it was in the Glamour article actually, but Ciara said that her and Mia live in the same building, and it was like her moving into the Mia's building is like one of the best decisions she's made because she has like a close friend there. She's been about like she said like this past year was about for her was like about building community. So, and Mia works in real estate, so maybe she has like connections to get people into this building. But
yeah.
So we learned that Ciara met this medium in Costa Rica. I'd love to learn a little more about that story, how that came along.
Yeah.
But she met the medium after a grandparent died, and it helped Ciara kind of get some healing. So this whole scene, I was like crying, and it was very touching. But we learn Mia's mom died of pneumonia and like complications associated with her autoimmune disease. And she's, Mia's looking for some closure and wants to know her mom's okay. And, her mom does come through as well as her grandma. And it was a really beautiful scene. The medium says that, her mom is saying to her, you need to know that I'm okay. And I'm working on coming to you in your dreams. I can breathe okay and I'm happy. And we learned that like part of the autoimmune disease affected her breathing. I'm like crying reading this back. And the medium says that her mom's like, why did you take a picture of my hands? And then we learned that like Mia took a picture of her mom's hands because she said she didn't want to forget what they looked like because they had the same hands. And Mia wants to know if she's on the right track with life. And her mom's, I want you to have a little more confidence in yourself. I know you've been feeling stagnant. And Mia talks about how, she was really upset. Obviously really upset that her mom passed away, as you would be. But she also talks like, I was mad. Like we had a plan. You were going to move to the city and I was going to have a baby. And she's like, don't worry. You're still going to have a baby girl. She'll send you a baby when the time is right. Plans are still on.
Plans still on. Yeah. That was super emotional. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really beautiful to see. And I'm glad she was able to have that experience and like hopefully that helped her like in some healing from the grief that she's going through.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And her brother seems great too. I feel like they need a spin-off.
Ciara's comment, like when they were like walking up, like, if you guys weren't brother and sister, you would make a great looking couple. And she was like,
yeah,
what the hell? How am I supposed to take that?
Yeah. And also Ciara is being like a really supportive friend. She's like taking notes during the meeting, and she's like, when the medium kind of like starts, she's like, this is what you get being a friend with me. So I love their friendship.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the other big scene from this week while they're still in the city, West is going to a dog adoption event, and Kyle and Amanda come. Mm-hmm. And as they're walking up, Kyle's like, okay, Operation Not Getting a Third Dog, which I can appreciate as a dog owner.
Yeah.
But then it's like such a like bizarre situation because like then Amanda and West chat and they have like a big like lingering hug, and Amanda's like, have you had time to reflect? Do you remember me getting upset with you? What upset me the most? You've been such a good friend to me all summer long, but then to watch you disrespect Ciara in that way, it puts this weird dynamic in place. Like, it's hard for me that you're mean to Ciara because I want to be friends with you.
Right. What does she have to do with any of this? I don't understand. Like, this is only about Ciara.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you just be like, yeah, I'm mad at you because you treated my friend like shit. I thought you were better than this.
Yeah.
And Wes says, I understand why it was disrespectful and hurtful, And I'm like, what did I just jeopardize? Did I jeopardize like friendship? Did I jeopardize rekindling things? And Amanda says there's a lot of moving pieces and layers. Like if you hated each other, do whatever you want. But rumor has it you guys are super flirty when you go out at night. And again, like, isn't she around? Like, hasn't she witnessed it? Why is she saying rumor has it? But
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
And Wes is like, that's true. Now the friendship's fucked. Any advice? And Amanda says, don't go silent. Take accountability and apologize. No ands, ifs, or buts. Why can't they take their own advice?
Yeah, that's a good question.
But it was just bizarre to see that. But I don't have much more else to say on that conversation.
Yeah, the conversation was one thing. The hug was, I don't know. It doesn't look good. I mean, it's not a big deal. Like at that, like your friends hug, and that's nothing seems to cross the line. It's just like you just stack up all these different things in a row, and it's like, oh yeah, this looks bad.
Yeah. Okay, so then it's Friday afternoon. People are heading back to the Hamptons. Mia, Ciara, Dara, and Scott are all in one car, and it's like Scott's first time coming out to the Hamptons. And they're like, oh, are you looking forward to it? And he's like, oh yeah. And he says something like, I'm a guy's guy. And all the girls are like, ew. And he's like, I want to like throw the pigskin around. And they're like, what is that? He's like, football. And then we see the guy's car. And it was funny just because at first I just thought it was like 3 or 4 of them. But then I realized it was all the guys besides Kyle. It was Wes, Jesse, Ben, KJ, and Carl. And Jesse's like, we had a bit of a boo-boo last weekend. And they all start laughing because of Wes' behavior. And KJ's like, let your actions speak louder than your words. And then Wes is like, I've been doing it accordingly for 2 years until last weekend. Yeah. Like he's so hung up on like, he's been such a good boy for 2 years. Right, like no one gives a fuck. Shut up.
Yeah, what you deserve a medal for not making out in front of her for 2 years, and now you screwed up just this one time.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I don't know. They all have medals later, so maybe there's some tie in there. And then we learn that KJ asked Dara to be his girlfriend, and we also learned Scott is only coming like one night due to work.
Which Mia's not happy about.
Yeah, she's not thrilled about. And then they're like, oh, how's Miami? And he's like, it's been a blessing. But Mia's like, great. He's about to go back out of town. So then we have the conversation about KJ asking Dara to be his girlfriend. And this is really funny because Mia's like, oh, you guys are exclusive now? And Ciara's like looking at her like, duh. He asked her to be his girlfriend. And Mia's like, bitch, I had a clarifying question. And she like takes her hands off the wheel. And Ciara's like, put your hands off the wheel. And then like, Mia's like, do you feel like it's moved too fast? And Dara's like, no, we're both like, know what we want. And then, the guys arrive and Ben gets locked in the car and KJ brought his skateboard and Kyle's already there and he's soaking up the sun. And then we learn that Amanda is not coming. He's on the phone and he's like, you're going to be missed. So let's see. And then Kyle sees Ciara and Ciara's like, where's my girlfriend? And Kyle's like, she didn't tell you she's going to bail. I don't really know why. She's kind of on the struggle bus. So later, Ciara has a FaceTime with Amanda. But before that, Ciara sees KJ and she's like, you've got a girlfriend. You've got a girlfriend. And does like a whole dance. Yeah. And Mia, KJ, and Ciara huddle. And it was funny because Ciara's like, you didn't even text me this news. And KJ's like, well, I was waiting to tell you in person. This was a cute little like scene. I feel like Mia and Ciara are like his big sisters.
Yeah.
And they're like, we support you. It's just a little fast. Like, you don't need to rush into anything.
I felt bad for Dara. I don't know like if it was just making it seem that way, but like they were kind of like, they weren't saying anything bad, but they were just like,
yeah,
are you sure? She's a little bit older than you. Like, don't rush into this. And they made it kind of seem like she was within earshot and she was kind of like looking back a couple times, but I don't know. She's going to hear it eventually. So, but again, and none of it was bad, but
we want to make sure you guys are aligned with what you both want and being aware of the realities. So I'm sure like, are they really ready for both like a relationship that is on TV as well as like probably the interracial aspects of dating in real life as well as on TV. But it seems like they're doing well. And, it was sweet that the girls were just checking in on him. So then we kind of just get this montage of the guys kind of like hanging out and stuff. And I think KJ jumps in the pool with his shoes on.
I didn't notice that.
I watched the clip like multiple times. I think it was KJ and I think someone had their shoes on. So that was weird. But it was funny because Ciara calls Amanda and she's like, there's 7 boys here and 3 girls. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
She's like, why didn't you come? And again, where are Bailey and Levi? And we see a confessional. She's like, I just can't do it. Like she's been showing up, putting a smile on her face, being her bubbly self, quote unquote. I'm like, when have you ever been like bubbly? And she's like, I just can't do it anymore. I need to be alone right now.
It's all catching up to me or something like that. Like,
yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't feel like we have time to like belabor the point, but like, it was just, why now? Why this weekend?
Yeah.
You've had plenty of fights, but maybe they've had a lot of fights at home that haven't been touched on the last few weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is kind of funny because West comes and wants to like apologize again. And he doesn't realize Ciara's on FaceTime at first, but he's like, oh, are you on the phone? And she's like, you can say it. So he's like, after a week of thinking about like, I'm pretty bummed about it. And I apologize. It was like so lame. But Ciara does then like a few minutes later, like go and invite Wes to coffee the next day. She's like, let's talk. So everybody goes out. They're getting ready. There's like a scene with Mia slapping Scott's ass. Kyle and Ben have like ski goggles on. I'm very curious where those came from. And then they get back around 3 a.m. and we see like a fun montage with a lot of like dancing in the kitchen. They're doing the thing with the kitchen sink again, spraying Ben and stuff. They're dancing on the island.
This is like when Kyle makes some sort of comment like, I'm having like the best weekend. I feel like myself. And then I kind of stop and realize, oh, it's because my wife's not here.
Yeah. He said he feels like himself for the first time in a long time. He's feeling more lighthearted. And it's a rude awakening, realizing how effed they really are, which was interesting. It's like with all the scandal stuff going on, it's like I almost forgot that they're about to like go through a divorce. But Ben falls when he gets down from the counter and Kyle falls because there's like water everywhere. I mean, I feel like they're lucky no one got seriously injured.
Yeah, that one fall looked like it was almost bad.
Yeah. Someone's like, we have to be up in like 3 hours. And I think Wes says like facetiously, luckily I have no important convos tomorrow because him and Ciara are going to meet. And then we see Kyle and Ben have the heart to heart. And Kyle's like, I feel like you've seen me at my worst. And, Ben's like, no, you're a good person. And Scott, before Mia and Scott go to bed, Scott's like, this crew you have here is crazy. So it seemed like a fun night.
Yeah.
Okay, so then it's August 23rd, a Saturday, and we learn it's going to be a boat day. So they're all getting ready. Mia's sad that Scott's leaving. And she does say, that her mom speaking to her made her feel like she needs to like start making decisions in life. And one of those areas where she might be stagnant is her relationship. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. And I think she's kind of feeling like it's hard for her, Scott, to move forward to the next stage of the relationship just with how busy he is with work right now. Randomly, Kyle and Ben are like dancing in Club Send It at 10:30 in the morning, which I just thought was aggressive.
Yeah.
But then Ciara is like all ready. She looks amazing. And she goes to grab West because they're going to go early to like the marina to chat. And I thought it was pretty funny. Like multiple people are like, oh, where's Ciara? And they're like, oh, she went early with West? Where's West? Oh my God, they went early. Even Scott is like, oh, they went early? Like Scott, who like doesn't know.
It's like, oh, with West? Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty funny. So then we have the sit down conversation with Ciara and West. And I'm already exhausted. This was really hard. This is really tough, knowing what we know now. I feel like a broken record, but
yeah, I don't know, but like I felt like he was like disengaged the entire time. He was like staring off into space, talking about himself more, about how he's been trying to do this over the last 2 years, and at some point, Ciara just kind of decides, all right, fuck it. Like, I want to be best friends with you again. So it's like, he wasn't even like asking for that. I don't like, I don't know. I feel like she had an out and she just decided, like, I do want to be friends with this person. So I'm going to go for it.
Well, yeah. I mean, a couple of interesting things. Like she says, it's basically been 2 years of us not saying anything, like talking about our issues. But she's scared to be herself around him because she's afraid of being embarrassed. And that very thing she was afraid of happened last weekend. You sat right next to me and you didn't see me. That was very triggering. And we learn a little more about back when they first dated and then broke up, with West talking to the media when he said we're not each other's people. Like, it really hurt her. She felt like he was downplaying how close they were and like downplaying like their relationship. And she's like, it felt like I didn't know you because I wouldn't expect that from you. Like, I thought we were best friends. And, Wes is like, that makes me really sad. And again, he talks about like needing to defend himself, which he's so selfish. But Ciara does say like, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't text you or communicate with you when all of that was happening. We learn Wes talks about how like he basically resents Ciara because of the aspect of social media and being on TV and everybody having an opinion and shitting on him about everything. But it's like, in reality, Ciara is not doing anything wrong. It's this whole weird aspect of having a relationship in the public eye. And we do, Ciara does say that she misses him as a friend, and Wes says, me too. Oh, and then Wes does say, so when they were dating, I remember like this was not on the show, but Wes brought Ciara home to meet his family. And he does say something about like, thinking back now, I realized that was probably like really messed up because that kind of indicated to you that I was like serious about the relationship. And he's like, I understand things a lot better than I did. I see you more, which obviously he doesn't.
Oh, that's all I wanted. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Amanda fed him that line. Like,
I don't
know. Yeah. She did say like I wanted you to see me.
You don't see me. Yeah.
So he kind of just threw it out back at her.
He says it, but it's like, I can't believe a word that comes out of this man's mouth. Ciara kind of pauses after they have their chat, and then she's like, can we just be best friends again? And she's like all emotional, and they hug. And how can somebody live with themselves having like gone through this with Ciara, said, yeah, we're going to be best friends again, and then okay, so this is August, September, October, November, December, January, like less than 6 months later, do something that, again, they know would hurt her so badly. Ugh, there's not much else to say that we haven't already said, but
yeah,
this is brutal.
Yeah. Andy was hyping this up as like being like an absolutely crazy episode and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like it was like a crazy episode. It was just a very emotional episode.
Yes.
All the Mia stuff and everything, and then just like both Amanda and West like doubling down on like how close they are to Ciara, right, how much they support her and everything. So it just makes everything that is going to happen feel so much more painful.
Exactly. But yeah, so at the end of their little heart to heart, there was a little funny scene, taking the show at face value. Wes is like, I knew you weren't going to make out with Jesse. And they like laugh. And Ciara's like, I'm pissed that you said you didn't care. And Wes is like, what was I going to do? And she's like, stop it. So that was funny. And then we see scenes for next week. So we see, it looks like we have the soft bar launch. Danielle shows up and we see there's going to be some drama with her and Lindsay, apparently, because Danielle, I think, is like talking to Kyle or something. He's like, oh, are you guys not getting along right now? Then we see a conversation about Amanda and Kyle, and Jesse says, like, I don't think they've had sex in years. They've only been married 4 years. So, like, I think that's a little bit of an exaggeration.
Yeah, that's an exaggeration, yeah.
And then, Wes, we learn Wes and Ciara are like back in it, being friends. And it seems like Ciara's kind of let some of her walls down. And then we see Amanda and Jesse talking. And Amanda is like, that's not friends. How did we go from 0 to 100? And, without knowing what we know now, I would have thought, oh, maybe she's concerned for her friend. She doesn't want Ciara to get hurt again. But now I'm like, okay, Amanda's completely jealous. We see in this episode, she's like, you've been such a good friend to me this summer, to West. So now that Ciara is like, yeah, I want to be friends again, and Wes is giving Ciara all this attention, I think Amanda's just jealous.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yep.
Okay. I think you're first for superlatives this week.
All right. Red flag, any scene with West. I think the I see you comment is probably the definitive moment where I was like, I hate this person.
Yeah. I agree, and I add Amanda to that red flag because she also said, I see you at the beginning of the episode.
Right. They both said it in this episode.
Yeah. Like, I think on Watch What Happens Live, Jesse was like, I don't think Wes is a bad person, but it's hard not to.
I think he's a bad person.
I think they're both bad people.
Yeah.
Watching this back.
And I'm not saying, like, he's coming to her defense saying, like, people need to stop cyberbullying, calling her, like,
Yeah, no one wants her
names.
to be cyberbullied. It's not the time to focus the narrative on that. Like,
yeah. But no, I think they're very, very bad friends at the least.
Very selfish people.
Yeah.
Okay. So who was your MVP?
I went Mia again.
Yeah.
I felt bad for Ciara, but I think more interesting stuff happened with Mia, and like with the medium and like meeting her brother and just kind of more information, like learning about her and everything. So I thought it was a good Mia episode. It was a sad Ciara episode, but I went Mia for MVP.
Nice. It was a tough decision for me, but like I probably would have picked Mia if you hadn't. So I'm gonna go Ciara. I think she helped make the medium happen. So she was like a really good friend to Mia this episode. They had some funny like lines. We see her, talking to KJ about him and Dara, and she's like, "You've got a girlfriend," and then she's like super vulnerable and kind of lets down her guard and has a conversation with West. So regardless of his shitty ass, like I think she's like grown in the fact that I think every season she kind of like opens up more and more. And I think it was probably really hard for her to get to the point where she could have this conversation and like actually admit that she really misses his friendship. So as heartbreaking as it is to watch, knowing what we know now, I was proud of her.
Yeah, that's a good point. Agreed.
I don't know. And how many sandwiches would you give this episode?
I went 4. I think, again, it's not like a crazy episode in terms of like a wild party or like there's this big fight or anything like that. But I think it was a very significant episode with the conversations and kind of like the more, affection showing between Amanda and West. It's all kind of like boiling up to something. So
yeah. I think I'm going to give it 3.75 sandwiches. I agree. It was a significant episode. I guess I was expecting like more of last week's like riveting, like just like, oh my God, I can't believe like they're acting this way, from like, what we saw to last episode with like the flirtiness and like affection between West and Amanda. But this episode, it was just like so emotional and so many messed up things. Like there was a lot of messed up things last episode too. I don't know. It was a lot harder for me to watch this week's episode than last week's episode. So I don't know, but I agree. It was an important episode. Okay. Pray for me that I survived today on like 4 hours of sleep. Okay. Good night. Bye.
Good morning.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow the show on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen and leave us a rating and review.
And if you have questions you want answered this season,
send them our way because chances are Pat's wondering the same thing.